Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Today we're going to talk about why other countries are very likely to follow El Salvador in the years to come, probably next year, and why even some US states might actually adopt that model. Now, first of all, on a legal basis, I don't believe US states are allowed to print their own currency, so they can't print these, but they could possibly accept other people's currency for payments, for instance, currencies from other countries. Not sure about if the federal government would have anything to say about them accepting cryptocurrencies, but I'm assuming they can actually do it. They just can't print it themselves, more or less. So, a couple of reasons is countries do want to get out from under the USA's thumb and be independent. And part of that reason is the US dollar is not always available in their country. A lot of countries, their own money isn't very stable. Their people don't want to use their own money regardless of what the government actually says. So they want another form of money to pay the people that's actually stable. Now, US dollars would actually be the first choice for a lot of those countries. But as we know, US dollars are not always available. And they might be very hard to get for some people. So they want something that's readily available, and that could be Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency. Right now, it would be Bitcoin. It's on the most exchanges, and it's the most widely available right now. For all intents and purposes. So it would actually be Bitcoin at first. It would actually they could be like El Salvador where they use both the US dollar and Bitcoin, so people have more than one choice. They can't get their hands on the dollar. They will actually just use Bitcoin. And yes, Bitcoin is not stable, but it's much better than whatever currency that a lot of these countries have. Remember, some of these countries, when they go into hyperinflation, they'll have 50, 100%, or 200% inflation in a week. And regardless of how unstable Bitcoin is, it's going to be better than that. And they have more trust in Bitcoin than that. And plus, if you look at Bitcoin's trajectory for the last 10 years, ever since it was created, you will know that Bitcoin price has actually basically trended up. Yes, it has pretty massive dips every once in a while, but overall, it's on an upward trajectory / upward trend. A lot of these countries are also politically against the United States. You think the Middle East and other sections of the world, maybe a couple of these countries are pissed off that the U.S. keeps on intervening in their affairs and assassinating their leaders, like some in South America, and they want to stick it to the USA. For whatever political reason, they don't like U.S. homogeny, and they want another choice. They want to stick it to Uncle Sam, so they could actually do it for that reason. I could definitely see countries in the Middle East doing this if they see Bitcoin as stable enough, or if they see it as a way to get out from under the U.S.'s thumb. I don't really know if the Saudis are really going to start accepting it for oil to try to replace the USD. I personally don't think so. But a lot of these smaller countries, governments that aren't as friendly towards the USA, they might actually do it just to stick it to the US and maybe have another global option that could eventually supplant the US someday. Maybe that's part of their evil plan. Who knows? Either way, that actually works for us investors. So both from a political and economic standpoint, there are many countries that would actually follow El Salvador. I expect no less than 5 to 10 countries following El Salvador's example within the next 2 years. You see the IMF trying to scare El Salvador into submission isn't really working. And I think if they hold out, other countries that don't really like the US or want another option besides the US dollar, and they're not going to only accept cryptocurrency. That's not going to be the only official tender in their legal tender in their country. I think they're going to accept USD, Bitcoin, maybe a couple of others, and there'll be competition. And if enough countries accept Bitcoin, I think it'll be too dominant for even the US to ignore. So whether they don't like US homogeny or they just want to be independent from a financial perspective, I think there's a lot of countries, smaller countries, that will actually accept Bitcoin. Now let's actually move on to states, why they may want to accept cryptocurrencies. I think states like Texas, other states that are looking for a source of jobs, a source of new income, a source of new taxes, I think they'll want to accept it just for extra income and revenue, or jobs and revenue. Cryptocurrency brings a lot of good paying jobs to the state. So if you want high paying jobs, and we're talking high 5 figures, 6 figures, this isn't like your plumber. Well, plumbers actually get paid a lot. This isn't like your McDonald's worker getting paid $10 an hour. These are high 5 figure, low 6 figure jobs. And these states want these jobs because it brings new commerce, it brings new jobs, it brings new money into the state, and the governments can tax that money to actually generate revenue for themselves. So that's why there's a lot of competition between states to actually get this new market into town. So I'm not really sure, like I said, the legal things between the federal government and the state government for them to accept Bitcoin as legal tender, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of federal court battles in the future to secure those jobs within certain states. And I think the federal government may have their hands full if they go on their continue their anti-crypto stance. So like when the Bitcoin fight comes to your own turf, I think they're really going to be pushed. And obviously, outside of the U.S.'s own turf with other countries, they obviously have many reasons to want to have Bitcoin too. So El Salvador, I don't think will be the only country in a little while. They might be getting all the pressure right now, but once it becomes 5 countries, 10 countries, 20 countries, I don't really think you could actually apply that pressure anymore. And eventually, Bitcoin will be accepted worldwide. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.